What is going on, guys? Hope you guys have been doing well. We've had a pretty quiet week this week. We just saw the end of our chapter 5, and I know myself, along with a lot of other people, have been waiting to see what exactly DICE has in store for our chapter 6 update, with the main question on what new Tides of War setting are we going to be playing in. I've been saying for a while now, I would be shocked if we don't see the Soviets come in our next chapter, but from the looks of some recent information from our community managers, it looks like we aren't leaving the Pacific after all. So Part Welsh gave us a nice little post today, updating us with a bit of information of what we can look forward to. I'll link down the full post in the comments down below if you guys want to read the whole thing, but I'll briefly summarize it here really quick. He told us about the new Cats and Dogs playlist starting today, which has the exact same extreme weather maps that we've been playing on the last week for Conquest, but now will be available for Breakthrough. So if you prefer the Breakthrough game mode, you can try that out right now. He also touched base on the whole weapon balance changes we can expect. He said we'll find out more detailed information about this after they launch the update for 6.0, but mentioned that they are working on weapons like the semi-auto rifles and pistol carbines to improve their damage drop-offs by extending them. He also said similar changes would be coming to the machine guns and the automatic rifles. So we'll get more information about this again when our 6.0 update drops. But getting back to the topic of what this video is, and what I found really interesting was this sentence right here. Update 6.0 primarily focuses on providing you with all new content to set the scene for our next chapter. A new map, new weapons, and new gadgets. Now that new map he's talking about is the map that we were seeing at the end of the Wake Island trailer. This whole jungle map, we still don't even have the exact name of the map as of yet, and we don't even know the confirmed location. I'm still speculating it's the Solomon Islands, and there seems to be convincing evidence that will be the case. But what's interesting is how this is put. He says the 6.0 update is to set the scene for our next chapter. So to me, that sounds like this new jungle map that clearly has Japanese and American soldiers in it, and it seems like it's clearly in the Pacific. I mean, this short clip we've been talking about for more than a month now came after the Wake Island trailer, which is, again, in the Pacific. So that, to me, seems like we're still in some form of another in the Pacific. How exactly is that going to look is anyone's guess right now, but it does make a little bit of sense. It seems like since there is some pretty significant content that hasn't been released from the Pacific Theater update, that would make sense for it to continue in this type of Pacific Theater environment or setting, if you want to use Part Welsh's terms correctly, and they could kind of mesh it all together really easily. We have things like the tank body customizations that I completely always forget about because it just seems like it never comes out. We also have the lunge mine from the trailer that got taken out from one of our Chapter 5 weekly Tides of War missions due to a bug that appeared. We've heard that they have fixed that and it is planning to come out, but clearly we have no more Tides of War missions for Chapter 5, so I mean, I guess you could throw it into another chapter that has a completely different setting from the Pacific Theater if you want to just get it out there, but like Part Welsh wrote, there would be a new map, new weapons, and new gadgets to set the scene for our next chapter. We also have a bunch of data mine stuff like various American and Japanese melee weapons, possibly hinting at the Battle of Okinawa. You can find links to all these posted down in the comments below, but what appears is happening is we'll be in some form of another still in the Pacific. Maybe we'll find more of an emphasis on the Japanese faction, since the Pacific Theater seemed to have more of an emphasis on American iconic imagery like the maps such as Iwo Jima. But I don't know, all this location talk is still speculation. We've been hearing things going around the community about us possibly staying in the Pacific, since there's a lot of content from our Pacific Theater update that has not come out as of yet. But we haven't heard anything from DICE until today, when Part Welsh said a new map, new weapons, and new gadgets are to set the scene for our next chapter. So we might not know the exact location, but we should know the scene, and the scene is the Pacific. So that's what's making me to believe that we're still going to be staying in the Pacific Theater in some form of another. Now, Part Welch didn't give us an exact date when the 6.0 update is going to drop. All he made very clear is that it's not coming out next week, but details will be shared the week prior to when the update drops. So maybe if they're able to get this out at the beginning of February, we'll find next week at the very beginning maybe a teaser trailer, and then by the end of next week we'll find a full trailer of the new map with a whole blog post about the details for the map. They've done this before in the past with other maps and such, so that could be the case. That's again speculating if they're able to get it out the first week of February, which I hope, but again, we'll have to wait and see. However, with all that said, I think I will close up this video talking about what I said at the very start of this video, how I'd be shocked if we didn't see the Soviets in our next chapter. Well, now part of me thinks it kind of makes sense for DICE to stay around the Pacific a little bit longer. Now, don't get me wrong, I still think the Soviets are coming sometime this year. I mean, they played such a huge part in World War II, it would be shocking for them not to. But it does make sense for DICE to stay around the Pacific, considering that, you know, they can use a lot of their assets that they have already that they developed so far, and they can use that for more stuff that we haven't really seen, maybe like naval warfare. So if you go to a completely new setting, you're kind of going to throw away all this content that you can't be using on other type of Pacific themed maps. So things like amphibious vehicles. Try using these amphibious vehicles out in the snow, playing up there in Russia. Like, okay, like that's not going to work, right? Isn't going to make sense? So yeah, I imagine that you can use a lot of these assets, you can complement them with the new chapter, all while getting yourself prepared for a completely new setting that will, who knows, come around sometime late summertime or something like that. I don't know. But that kind of makes sense to me. It also works well with all the content that they didn't bring out for chapter 5. They're able to kind of mesh that in really nice and kind of blend it in, get it somewhat on time, though somewhat not, kind of sneaking it in along the way. But yeah, that to me kind of all makes sense. This will all distract us, of course, for again that really big new setting location that they'll bring out sometime later on this year. But that's just me speculating on my part. Feel free to let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. But that is it for you guys today. Again, I always appreciate you guys being here. I am Living. I'll catch you guys again later.